Weird science, bizarre experiments you won't believe were real. The monster study. In the 1930s, researcher Wendell Johnson conducted an experiment in which he labeled a group of orphans as stutterers, and then gave half of them positive speech therapy, while the other half received negative therapy. The study was controversial for its unethical treatment of the children and its questionable scientific value. The Stanford Prison Experiment. In 1971, a team of researchers, led by Philip Zimbardo, conducted a study in which participants were randomly assigned roles as prisoners or guards in a simulated prison environment. The experiment was meant to study the dynamics of power and authority, but quickly descended into chaos and abuse, prompting ethical concerns about the treatment of the participants. The Milgram Experiment. In the 1960s, researcher Stanley Milgram conducted a study in which participants were asked to administer electric shocks to a person in another room who they believed was participating in a memory test. The experiment was designed to study obedience to authority, but raised ethical concerns about the use of deception and the potential harm to participants. The Tuskegee Syphilis Study. In the 1930s, researchers studied the progression of syphilis in a group of African American men without their knowledge or consent. The study continued for several decades, even after effective treatments for syphilis were discovered, and led to widespread condemnation of unethical medical research. The monkey head transplant. In the 1970s, researcher Robert White successfully transplanted the head of one monkey onto the body of another, creating a two-headed animal. The experiment was controversial for its ethical implications and the questionable scientific value of the procedure. The Aversion Project. In apartheid-era South Africa, gay soldiers were subjected to forced gender reassignment surgeries, chemical castration, and other forms of torture in an attempt to cure their homosexuality. The experiment was widely condemned for its cruelty and human rights abuses. The Russian Sleep Experiment. This is a fictional experiment that originated on the internet, but has since become a popular urban legend. The story goes that Soviet researchers kept a group of people awake for several weeks using a gas that induced sleeplessness, leading to horrifying results. While there is no evidence that such an experiment ever took place, the story has gained a cult following online. While some of these experiments were conducted with good intentions, they all share a common thread of questionable ethics and the potential harm to participants. It is important for researchers to prioritize the safety and well-being of their subjects, and to ensure that their experiments are conducted with transparency and informed consent.